what archaeologists found inside. This 1,000-year-old wooden coffin made the world rewrite history. Welcome to a journey through some of the greatest mysteries in human history. Today, we will delve into one of the most controversial and enigmatic legends ever to emerge from England, a land often regarded as the cradle of myths, magic, and medieval wonder. Surely you've heard of King Arthur, the legendary ruler of Camelot and the noble leader of the Knights of the Round Table? But there's a detail that not everyone knows. A giant skeleton, believed to belong to King Arthur himself, was once unearthed in one of the most sacred places in England, Glastonbury Abbey. Located in Somerset, Glastonbury Abbey is not only one of the most ancient landmarks in the UK, but also a crossroads of history, religion, and mythology. Legend has it that Joseph of Arimathea, the guardian of the Holy Grail, established the first Christian church in England right on this very site. But the story doesn't end there. Glastonbury hides a secret that once shocked the world. A set of remains believed to be those of the legendary King Arthur was discovered there in the year 1190. According to accounts, under the orders of King Henry II, local monks excavated the ground within the abbey grounds, digging to a depth of around 7 feet. There, between two ancient pyramidal stones, they found a lead cross engraved with Latin words: His si jacet, sepultus, inclitus rex Arturus in insula Avalloni. Roughly translated, here lies buried the renowned King Arthur on the Isle of Avalon. This inscription sent shockwaves through the archaeological and historical communities of the time. And what came next was even more unbelievable: a giant coffin, carved from a single ancient oak trunk. When the lid was removed, the experts were astonished to find the skeleton of a man nearly 10 feet tall, a height far beyond that of any known individual in England's history. Beside him was the skeleton of an average-sized woman, believed to be Queen Guinevere. This discovery sparked a radical theory that King Arthur may have actually been a giant and that his race may have once existed in human history. This event triggered intense interest from scholars and archaeologists. The renowned historian Giraldus Cambrensis personally examined the remains in 1194 and confirmed their authenticity. But as history often goes, things are never as simple as they seem. When Glastonbury Abbey was dissolved in 1539, both the mysterious remains and the lead cross vanished without a trace. The mystery of King Arthur's final resting place grew even more elusive and surreal, giving rise to countless unanswered theories. Some skeptical scholars argue that the entire story was fabricated by monks to attract attention and donations from the nobility. They suggest the lead cross was a forgery, and the giant skeleton may have belonged to an unknown person. Yet, the presence of a nearly 10-foot-tall man found in an ancient coffin at one of the most sacred sites in England remains an undeniable fact. Even into the 20th century, the search for King Arthur's tomb did not cease. In the 1960s, archaeologist Rolig Radford claimed to have re-identified the original burial site of the legendary king. However, Professor Roberta Gilchrist later refuted this, stating, "It's just an unmarked grave in the cemetery, dating from the 11th to the 15th century. There's no compelling evidence that this is King Arthur's tomb." Despite the academic debate, one fact remains. Nearly 1,000 years ago, a skeleton measuring close to 10 feet tall was discovered at Glastonbury. Could this be proof that a race of giants once walked the earth? Or was it merely a coincidence, exploited to craft a legend? The answer remains elusive. The story of King Arthur and the giant skeleton of Glastonbury is like a half-open door, inviting curious minds to step into a mystical realm where truth and legend intertwine. And you, watching this video, do you dare to believe that behind those old, dusty pages of history, a hidden truth might still be waiting to be revealed? As for me, whether or not the truth about King Arthur and the giant skeleton of Glastonbury is ever fully uncovered, one thing is certain. It has opened a door to the great archaeological mysteries shaking the foundations of what we think we know. Because Glastonbury is not the only place that forces us to question the history we've long accepted. From ancient ruins buried beneath layers of earth and stone, to lost civilizations that vanished without explanation, these mysteries challenge the limits of our understanding. So now, let's explore some of the strangest and most controversial archaeological discoveries ever recorded, to see just how mysterious the ancient world still is. 700-year-old tomb beneath a sweet potato field. In 1953, in a small village in Hubei Province, China, A farmer was harvesting sweet potatoes when he suddenly discovered a small hard object in the ground that was emitting a faint light. After wiping off the mud, he realized it was a jade hairpin. The hairpin was exquisitely designed, with soft and clearly defined carvings. The farmer didn't know much about jade, but he could sense that this was a treasure. Believing there was something unusual on his sweet potato field, he immediately brought the jade hairpin to the local authorities. After studying the artifact, archaeologists in Hubei concluded that the owner of the hairpin must have been a member of the royal family or nobility, as common people could not have owned such a valuable item. The local museum quickly sent an archaeological team to investigate the site, and they indeed found a 700-year-old tomb right beneath the sweet potato field. Inside the tomb, the team unearthed 2 coffins. Both were in excellent condition, and even the intricate carvings on the wooden surfaces were still clearly visible, leaving the team astounded. However, that was not the most surprising discovery. Upon opening the first coffin, the team found a female body that was well preserved, showing no signs of decay and fully submerged in a liquid. Just a few minutes later, the body suddenly began to deform. The limbs and abdomen started to swell, and the tongue stuck out, similar to the phenomenon observed with the female body from Mawang Dui. The face, which had been intact moments before, now contorted beyond recognition. The archaeological team was horrified. Witnesses reported that the body's abdomen swelled like an overinflated balloon, as though it might burst at any moment. However, shortly after, the body slowly contracted and quickly began to decay. This process happened so quickly that many present at the scene could hardly comprehend what was happening. So why did the body deform? According to Kulishi, this bizarre event was later explained by medical experts. It turned out that the mummy had not been properly preserved, and due to the lack of proper sealing of the coffin, groundwater had seeped in. The body, submerged in water and not adequately preserved from the start, had allowed bacteria, including aerobic bacteria, which require oxygen to produce energy, to thrive. When the coffin was opened, the body immediately absorbed a large amount of air, causing it to swell. Afterward, due to changes in pressure, the gases inside the body escaped, causing the body to contract and rapidly decompose. The team also found a clue to the identity of the tomb's owner on a piece of wood inside the coffin, which was engraved with the words, Madame Tan. So who was Madame Tan? Archaeologists searched historical records for this name, but found no traces. This was not surprising, as in feudal society, a noblewoman's status was often not highly documented, making it unlikely to find records. The experts then pinned their hopes on the second coffin. Fortunately, inside the second coffin, there was a tablet that revealed the male tomb owner's name, Huang Chengkun, born during the Song dynasty from 960 to 1279 and passed away during the Yuan dynasty from 1271 to 1368 at the age of 78. The man was a government official, which, for those who may not know, would be equivalent to the head of a city today. 1,700-year-old tomb of a barbarian. You've probably heard of the barbarian tribes, the warriors from the cold northern lands living at the fringes of the Roman Empire, who once made even this mighty empire tremble. But could you imagine that, after centuries, one of them would leave such a profound mark that even modern archaeology would be stunned? Next, let's explore a thrilling archaeological discovery in the peaceful village of Gerstetten, located about 40 miles east of Stuttgart, Germany. Deep within this seemingly forgotten countryside, archaeologists uncovered a 1,700-year-old tomb, the final resting place of a man believed to belong to the barbarian tribe, also known as the Barbarians. This tomb was discovered in early May during an excavation for a new housing development project. What makes this discovery special is not just its age, approaching 2 millennia, but also the craftsmanship and historical value hidden within. This was no ordinary grave. It was surrounded by a wooden chamber, isolated yet striking in the area. Inside the tomb were the remains of a man, believed to have been around 60 years old at the time of his death, buried with many valuable items, a testament to his high status in his community. Among the items found were pottery, a fine-toothed comb, and notably, a high-quality glass cup, believed to have been taken from the Roman fortress Guntia, now known as Günzburg. Interestingly, while some of the artifacts clearly showed Roman influence, others had distinct characteristics from the Elbasali region in central Germany, hundreds of miles away from the burial site. This suggests that the man not only lived during a time of interaction between the Roman world and the Germanic tribes, but was also a vivid representation of the complex connections between cultures at the time. Gerstetten lies near the northern boundary of the Roman Empire, in the Upper Germanic region. Further beyond was Magna Germania, the land of many different Germanic tribes. The Roman limes, the Roman frontier, was heavily guarded by troops stationed in fortresses like Guntia. However, the Germanic people, with their unique customs and burial practices, continued to thrive beyond direct Roman influence. The Romans referred to them as barbarians due to their strange language and unfamiliar culture. According to researchers, the man buried in Gerstetten was likely a member of the Alemanni tribal alliance, people who lived near the Upper Rhine Valley. Tombs of the Alemanni from this period are extremely rare, making this discovery even more valuable. Experts believe the man was buried sometime between 263 and 342 AD. Typically, tombs of this type were found in groups of 5 to 12 individuals, and archaeologists believe that at least 2 more tombs may still be hidden in the surrounding area. This discovery not only offers a clear snapshot of a turbulent historical period, but also serves as a vivid reminder of the interaction and even collision between two worlds, Roman civilization and the so-called barbarian Germanic tribes. One tomb, one story, but an entire historical treasure waiting to be unlocked. The oldest stone tomb in Sweden and the mystery of the missing skulls. Specifically, in central Sweden, archaeologists have uncovered a stone burial chamber from the Neolithic period, one of the oldest stone tombs ever found in Sweden, and even in all of Scandinavia. Remarkably, inside this tomb, scientists discovered the remains of at least 12 individuals, including infants and the elderly, suggesting that this wasn't a solitary burial site, but rather a collective tomb used over multiple generations. However, what is most astonishing is not just its ancient age, but also the mysteriously missing bones. Carl Goran Sjögren, an archaeologist at the University of Gothenburg and the lead author of this study, noted that many skulls and long bones, such as thigh and arm bones, were missing, while smaller bones like those from hands, feet, ribs, and teeth were still found. The tomb, remarkably intact since the Stone Age and showing no signs of being disturbed by tomb robbers or earthquakes, indicates that the missing larger bones might have been removed either right after the burial or soon after. So, what happened? Could the ancient people have intentionally removed the most important bones for some reason? Researchers currently lean toward the hypothesis that this was part of an ancient burial ritual, where skulls or large bones, which held symbolic significance, might have been kept separately, reused in spiritual ceremonies, or even turned into sacred totems. Sjögren emphasized that what they discovered is very different from typical stone tombs, opening up a fascinating new avenue of research into the beliefs and burial customs of Stone Age people. While no signs of violence or trauma were found on the bones, scientists continue to work on decoding DNA to determine if the individuals buried together were part of the same family, and if they had any genetic disorders that might explain this unusual practice. Beyond that, chemical analysis of the bones also provides rare insights into the lives of these ancient people. They lived in a primitive agricultural society, cultivating grains, raising livestock, and consuming dairy products, clear indicators of advanced settlement and production practices in prehistoric human life. What do you think? Do you believe the missing bones were taken for sacrificial rituals, or is it merely a coincidence of time and custom? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments for a lively discussion. Thousands of strange skeletons in the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. In 1974, a historic discovery stunned the global archaeological community when the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, was found in Xi'an, Shanxi province. This marked a pivotal moment in uncovering the mysteries surrounding the life and death of this legendary emperor. Since then, continuous archaeological excavations have been carried out, revealing many unanswered questions about the tomb of Qin Shi Huang. These discoveries not only surprised experts, but also unveiled mysterious stories about ancient customs and the lives of the people of that time. One of the most remarkable discoveries was the colossal terracotta army found within the tomb, consisting of thousands of life-sized warrior statues. These soldiers were meticulously crafted down to the finest details, from their clothing and weapons to the expressions on their faces, all reflecting the grandeur and power of the Qin dynasty. In addition, archaeologists also uncovered numerous weapons, armor, chariots, and other items, all buried with the emperor to protect him in the afterlife. An equally shocking discovery was the finding of the remains of concubines, who were believed to have followed an ancient custom of ritual burial, where they were sacrificed to accompany the emperor in the afterlife. This practice reflects the absolute devotion and loyalty of the concubines to the emperor. However, what truly astonished experts even further was the discovery of thousands of animal skeletons within the tomb. After examination, scientists identified at least 12 different animal species, including horses, deer, elk, fish, crabs, chickens, goats, swans, cranes, and other creatures like clams, snails, and oysters. The remarkable thing is that all these animals were believed to have been buried alive alongside Emperor Qin Shi Huang. The ancient belief in as above, so below suggested that death was not an end, but a transition into the afterlife. Thus, Emperor Qin Shi Huang was buried with vast amounts of gold, silver, jewels, valuable artifacts, concubines, and animals to ensure that his afterlife would be as magnificent as his life. These animals were not merely burial items. They reflected a profound belief in life and death. Another discovery from the animal skeletons provided insight into human domestication of animals during the Qin Shi Huang era. These animals were not only kept as pets or for food, but also played an important role in other activities, such as transporting goods. The large number of animals buried with the emperor shows that the Qin civilization had reached a high level of development in animal domestication and their use for various purposes. All these discoveries provide a clearer view into the customs and life of one of China's most powerful emperors in history. Qin Shi Huang, with his determination to maintain power and greatness, not only built a mighty empire, but also left an invaluable archaeological legacy that helps us better understand the rituals and beliefs of ancient society. The skeletons of 3 children holding each other tight. What would you do if one day, in the peaceful countryside of England, a secret buried for 5,000 years was uncovered? Not gold or silver, not ancient weapons or a treasure, but a scene so heartbreaking that even the toughest archaeologists would shed tears. In Burton Agnes, East Yorkshire, a seemingly insignificant land, scientists discovered an ancient grave with a touching and tragic story. 3 children were buried together, holding each other tightly as if they were still seeking the last warmth amidst the cold stone and earth of 1,000 years. This discovery wasn't just a monumental step in archaeology, but also a deeply human moment that left the world in silence. In the grave, the oldest child held the 2 younger ones, while the 2 little ones' arms were intertwined. That bond and love, despite being buried for millennia, remained evident to modern eyes as an eternal testament to familial love, to the protective instinct of humans, even in the face of death. This tomb was discovered in 2015, and since then, it has been hailed by the British Museum as one of the most important archaeological discoveries related to prehistoric art in Britain in the last 150 years. But the significance is not only due to the poignant skeletons. The tomb also contained incredibly valuable and rare artifacts: a ball made of chalk, a bone nail that had been smoothed, and, most notably, a stone drum with exquisitely carved patterns. The most remarkable thing about this stone drum is that it wasn't placed randomly. It was positioned directly above the oldest child's head, as if guarding their soul, or perhaps it was a sacred talisman. According to archaeologists, the drum wasn't a musical instrument, but seemed to be a symbolic or spiritual sculpture, representing protection, prayer, or hope. It may have been the final offering the family placed in the grave, entrusting with it all the unspoken words. Neil Wilkin, the curator of the Stonehenge World Exhibition at the British Museum, was moved when sharing this discovery. He said it was one of those moments he could never forget in his career. There's something that protects this grave. It's almost as if they're protecting the vulnerable child. This scene is truly heartbreaking. No one knows what happened to that family, but everything in that grave told me about an emotional moment. Indeed, while adults of that time were usually cremated after death, these children were buried intact, an indication that they may have been seen as souls that needed to be protected, even in death. And 5,000 years later, it is that love, that primal and pure emotion between three children, that has transcended time and touched the hearts of all humanity today. The rising and sinking temple on the sea in India. Do you believe there is a sacred temple in the world that sinks into the sea every day and then rises again like a miracle? It may sound like science fiction, but it is the truth in India, where the Stambeshwar Mahadev Temple, also known by the special name the Sinking Temple, quietly stands on the Arabian Sea coast in the town of Kavi Kamboi, Gujarat. Approximately 150 years old, Stambeshwar Mahadev is a temple dedicated to the god Shiva, where faith and nature miraculously merge, leaving thousands of visitors in awe. Nestled between the Cambay Gulf and the Arabian Sea, this small temple is not architecturally elaborate. It is simple, modest, and soaked with devotion. Yet, it is precisely this simplicity that gives it a unique charm, making it an unmissable destination for Hindu pilgrims and curious travelers alike. You can easily reach the temple by car or taxi from Vadodara, which is about 47 miles away. If you choose to travel by train, Vadodara station is the nearest stop, making the journey convenient for those exploring this wonder. According to ancient Hindu legend, the Stambeshwar Mahadev temple was built by Lord Kartikeya, the son of Shiva. The story begins with a battle between Lord Kartik and the demon Tarakasura. After defeating the demon, Kartikeya did not feel pride but instead guilt for the killing. Seeing this, Lord Vishnu comforted him, saying the act was necessary to protect the people from the evil forces. However, seeking redemption and peace, Lord Kartik decided to follow Vishnu's advice and built the temple as a prayer for forgiveness to the universe and the gods. What makes Stambeshwar Mahadev legendary is the daily natural phenomenon. When the tide rises, the temple is completely submerged in the sea, leaving only the vast water and a few flowers drifting. Flowers that worshippers float to show reverence. But as the tide recedes, gradually, the walls, steps, and eventually, the Shiva Lingam statue, standing over 4 feet tall, emerge, as if by a cosmic miracle. The temple's rising and sinking is not only a natural occurrence, but also a powerful symbol of reincarnation and purification in Hindu culture. To fully experience this miraculous event, it is best to spend the day here. Early morning is the ideal time for meditation in the peaceful surroundings, right after the temple emerges from the water. At this time, you can walk around the temple, listening to the sound of the waves blending with prayers, creating a feeling of complete tranquility. By noon, you can dine at the nearby restaurants or choose free meals provided by the temple for the devotees. After lunch, the miracle continues. The sea rises, slowly covering the walls, submerging the temple's corners. This dramatic moment causes many to gasp, as if the entire temple is silently sinking into the ocean, carrying with it sacredness and glory until night falls, enveloping this mystical place. The combination of majestic nature, the moving spiritual story, and the serene beauty of the ancient architecture has made Stambeshwar Mahadev Temple one of the most unique religious destinations in the world. A place where humans, deities, and the sea unite in an unforgettable spiritual dance. Chand Baori Stepwell. Mysterious India has long been famous for its exceptional ancient architectural wonders, such as the Taj Mahal temple. However, when it comes to truly unique and astonishing structures, the Chand Baori Stepwell stands out. Also known as the Moon Well, it is a stepwell located in the state of Rajasthan, India. The Moon Well was constructed sometime between the 8th and 9th centuries during the reign of King Chanda of the Nikumba dynasty. Today, due to unsanitary water conditions, the well is no longer in use. However, it continues to be a marvel, attracting thousands of international visitors each year. Chand Baori is believed to be named after a local ruler, Raja Chanda. However, no historical evidence has been found regarding the exact date of construction or its formal establishment. The structure of the Chand Baori stepwell is square in shape, consisting of 3,500 steps spread over 13 levels, descending approximately 100 feet below ground. 3 sides of the well are designed with staircases that align parallel to the walls, perfectly arranged. The remaining side features a modest yet sturdy temple, which was once believed to be a royal retreat. From above, the well appears as a series of massive angular stone blocks intricately interwoven and aligned, narrowing as they go deeper into the earth, revealing a greenish pond at the bottom. The sight of this vast pool of water at such a depth is overwhelming, giving the impression of a dizzying abyss. Due to the hot and dry climate in Rajasthan, water storage is critically important. Chand Bari functioned as a giant reservoir, capturing both groundwater and rainwater flowing down the steps. This stepwell provided water to the local people for many centuries before modern water systems were built by the Indian government. Chand Bari is often referred to as a giant fan because the air at the bottom of the well is 5 to 6 degrees cooler than the surface. During the hot summer months, it becomes a gathering place for the locals. Researchers claim that the construction of Chand Bari took a significant amount of time and effort due to the complexity of the architecture and the need for precision during its execution. This further supports the notion that, alongside ancient Egyptian civilization, India was a cradle for the development of mathematics. There is also a local legend among the people of Rajasthan that the construction of Chand Bari was completed in a single night with the help of divine beings. Hopi myths. Beneath the Earth's surface lies a mysterious world, one filled with magma, volcanoes, and earthquakes. Can life survive in such a harsh environment? Could an ancient civilization exist? These questions have long fueled human imagination and given rise to countless myths and legends. One such group, the Hopi people, a Native American tribe from northeastern Arizona, has a rich mythology about the world beneath the earth. According to their stories, they encountered beings living underground who offered their help. Some of these underground beings are said to resemble ants, some like spiders, and others like snakes. All of them are described as possessing extraordinary abilities and intellect. The Hopi people are believed to have descended from ancestors who lived around 500 BC. Their language belongs to the Uto-Aztecan family, and a distinct feature of the Hopi men is that they do not grow facial hair. However, their ceremonial objects often depict beards, and gods with beards appear in their myths. The Hopi explain this by saying that their gods had beards, and that beards symbolize different professions and identities. Despite this, the Hopi do not need beards because their work and identity are determined by the gods. A central theme in Hopi mythology is the underground world. The Hopi believe that the beings who live beneath the earth are their friends and teachers. When catastrophes occurred on the surface of the earth, these underground beings helped the Hopi escape to live and learn in the underground world. After the disaster subsided, they guided the Hopi back to the surface to continue life. To show gratitude to the beings from beneath the earth, the Hopi perform various rituals, such as creating fake large beards or styling their hair in special ways to mimic the underground beings. They also paint murals depicting the underground world. Interestingly, the Hopi call the ants Anunnaki, the same name as a Sumerian deity mentioned in the Earth Chronicles. The myths and legends of the Hopi people are an integral part of their culture and spirituality, reflecting their understanding and reverence for the natural and spiritual world. They also express the Hopi's identity and perseverance in their mission and heritage. These stories continue to intrigue and captivate many, and some even suggest that the Hopi legends may have some scientific basis. For example, the underground world might symbolize a network of underground caves, and the beings who live there could represent ancient civilizations or races. Of course, these are just speculative theories without convincing evidence, but they demonstrate the irresistible allure of Hopi myths, which help us explore the mysteries of the underground world and fuel our imagination and curiosity. Mermaid monster appeared next to ancient tomb. Archaeologists working in the barren desert of Saqqara, near the famous royal tombs, were shocked to discover the fossilized remains of an extinct sea monster. Initially, they had intended to search for ancient tombs or mummified animals, such as cats, dogs, crocodiles, and birds, animals that were often sacrificed alongside their owners or buried as elaborate and luxurious grave goods in tombs and grand pyramids. However, the large skeleton they uncovered turned out to be a long-extinct relative of the manatee. Manatees, massive creatures that typically live in faraway, cold oceanic regions, are also known as mermaids. According to various legends, manatees were once believed to be women transformed into sea creatures, often helping ships in distress. In Malaysia, they are called dugong, which means sea maiden in the local language. Westerners, too, have compared the shape of the manatee's body, especially when it surfaces from the water, to a woman holding a child, and its calls are often likened to singing. Manatees are mammals, but tens of millions of years ago, they evolved to adapt to life in the ocean, with their 4 limbs transforming into flippers. This sea monster skeleton had fully transformed 4 limbs. The discovery baffled scientists. The hypothesis that it was an animal brought from the sea and buried with Egyptian nobles, similar to the treatment of cats or crocodiles, seemed highly unlikely. As a result, the scientists decided to use more advanced techniques to analyze the bones. The results revealed that the creature lived 40 million years ago, long before the nearby tombs were constructed, suggesting that it swam in the area. Of course, it couldn't have swum through desert sands, which means that 40 million years ago, this desert was actually an ocean. In 2016, another desert in Egypt, Wadi el-Hitan, revealed several whale skeletons. The discovery of this ancient manatee further supported the theory that Egypt, millions of years ago, was a shallow sea full of sea monsters. The afterlife legacy of Lord Sapon. In 1987, a massive cluster of tombs from the Moche culture, also known as Mochica, an ancient civilization that thrived from approximately 100 to 750 AD along Peru's Andes Mountains, was uncovered at the archaeological site of Huaca Rajada, near Sapon, on Peru's northern coast. The most famous tomb among them belonged to Lord Sapon, a warrior and ruler of the Moche civilization who was buried with a vast array of gold, silver, and jewels never before seen in this region. The tombs, measuring 16.5 feet by 16.5 feet, were found with wooden coffins in the center, marking the first time scientists had discovered such a tomb in the Americas. Inside the coffin lay the skeleton of a man dressed in royal attire, surrounded by numerous offerings for his journey to the afterlife. Upon analyzing the symbols on the clothing and burial goods in the tomb, scientists concluded that this man must have held a very high status during the Moche period. He was buried with an abundance of gold, silver, and copper items, along with jewelry, a large crescent-shaped headdress adorned with feathers, a mask, chest plates inlaid with hundreds of mother-of-pearl shells, necklaces, earrings, nose rings, a golden and silver scepter, golden fabric strips sewn into his clothing, and golden shields used by warriors. The necklaces were made of gold and silver beads shaped like peanuts, a key food staple for the Moche people. 10 gold beads on the right side represented masculinity and the sun god, while 10 silver beads on the left side symbolized femininity and the moon goddess. Along with Lord Sapon's burial were several ritual items, including seashells, gold and silver rattles, knives, a golden death god mask, gold bells depicting a deity decapitating a person, 3 headdresses, and hundreds of bead necklaces. In total, 451 burial items of various materials were buried with Lord Sapon to accompany him in the afterlife. Ancient Intercontinental Highway. The ancient Inca road system is one of the most sophisticated engineering feats in the world. This highly advanced highway system transformed the Inca Empire into one of the most powerful ancient civilizations in the Western Hemisphere. The intricate and complex network of roads stretched over 20,000 miles, running through Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile. Perhaps one of the most famous features of this ancient road system was that it crossed the towering Andes mountain range with steep, heart-stopping cliffs. This meant the ancient Incas had to carve tunnels through the mountains and even create narrow roads along sheer rock faces. What is even more astonishing is that, despite not having the wheel, draft animals, metal tools, or even a written language to exchange information, the ancient Incas were able to build the oldest, longest, and most advanced road system on Earth. This network allowed the ancient empire to traverse more than 1.2 million square miles of its territory with ease. As UNESCO has noted, the extraordinary road system passed through some of the most difficult terrains on the planet, connecting snow-capped peaks of the Andes at elevations over 19,685 feet to the coast, cutting through tropical rainforests, fertile valleys, and barren deserts. One local remarked, "This is not just a stone road, it is a cosmic road." Travel doctors from Bolivia still use this road to walk and recharge their energy. They say the road has a soul. Strangely, along this route, we find nearly every key megalithic structure. This serves as a treasure trove of convincing evidence of the advanced, complex engineering skills of ancient civilizations. What is even more fascinating is that these megalithic structures predate the Inca civilization by 1,000 years, suggesting that parts of the Inca road system could be over 1,000 years older than the Inca Empire itself. Curiously, Inca legends tell that these key archaeological sites were not built by the ancient Incas. When asked who built these magnificent structures, the Incas would respond, "We didn't build them." So if it wasn't the Incas, then who was behind them? Could it have been a pre-Inca civilization that once inhabited the land of the Incas? 66 million-year-old fossil reveals new sea monster. An international research team led by paleontologist Katie Strong from the University of Alberta in Canada has discovered rare fossilized bone fragments of a sea monster in a phosphate mine in Morocco. This area had previously yielded over a dozen species of mosasaurs, ancient marine reptiles. The newly identified species is named Gavialimus almagrebensis, and it lived around 66 to 72 million years ago. These creatures had long, narrow snouts with interlocking teeth similar to crocodiles. The long snout suggests that this species of marine lizard had adapted to a specialized hunting style, or had developed a niche in an ecosystem with many giant predators competing for food, space, and resources. Each species of mosasaur may have evolved to hunt specific prey or develop a unique hunting style, said Strong. For instance, Globidin simplex had large, rounded teeth perfect for crushing shellfish. Meanwhile, the snout and tooth structure of G. almagrebensis would have made it adept at catching fast-moving fish. In the ecosystem of Morocco, resembling an inland sea, not all mosasaurs developed specialized hunting styles. Some species competed for the same prey. However, the anatomical differences across species provide compelling evidence for niche partitioning in this ecosystem among marine lizards. This suggests that predators living at the same time, in the same place, could branch off and follow different evolutionary paths to coexist. The researchers are uncertain how large G. almagrebensis grew, but the fossilized skull alone was nearly 3.3 feet long. Mosasaurs in general are known to be among the largest prehistoric marine predators, with some species growing up to 59 feet long and weighing between 33,000 and 44,000 pounds. 9,000-year-old obsidian treasure. These are two tools made from obsidian, also known as volcanic glass or black glass, a type of volcanic glass. They were hand-excavated at a depth of 105 feet in an area between two ancient hunting grounds, submerged beneath the waters of Lake Huron in the eastern United States. This material is highly valuable in modern times, used for making high-quality surgical knives or decorative gemstones. For Stone Age hunters, obsidian was even more precious due to its ease of shaping, resulting in the sharpest blades. As a result, this material was widely used and traded throughout much of human history. The two obsidian tools found at the bottom of the lake carry three unique values. First, they are incredibly valuable artifacts, not only for their material, but also because they are 9,000 years old. Second, they represent the craftsmanship and tool use of early hunters who settled in America in ancient times. Third, the source of the obsidian has been traced to a distant location, the Rocky Mountains in the northwestern United States, indicating that this was an item exchanged in trade, providing evidence of ancient commerce. For archaeologists, this is quite a shocking detail. Dr. Ashley Lemke, an anthropologist in the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at the University of Texas at Arlington, commented, "This is a rare discovery. These small artifacts reveal social connections across North America 9,000 years ago. The fact that these ancient artifacts were preserved underwater provides a unique treasure, as their integrity is far superior to similar structures found on land." As you can see, the ancient world always holds many fascinating mysteries, right? Which discovery from the ones above impressed you the most? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to give our channel a like and subscribe so you won't miss any other exciting discoveries. For now, goodbye and see you again soon.